So this is part 2 of our interview with Shannon Rice, who's running for the City Council of Milton. And so we have a new production crew. We have taken a quantum leap in the capability of the Greg and Donny News Show, which you can find on our Facebook page, Greg and Donny News Show Facebook page, and on our YouTube channel, Greg and Donny News Show YouTube. In fact, we may even expand that to a bunch of other folks. This might be a huge, we got things we're talking about that you won't believe, okay? And so, but one thing we don't have is a camera that will go longer than a certain amount of time, so we have to start these things over. So that's why the parts are the way they are. So we're just going to put them in sequence and just we'll post them as separate things on Facebook, and everybody's going to be happy, and away we go. This is Shannon Rice. She's running for City Council of Milton and is wondering why we're asking the questions we're asking, because these are not typical questions that would be asked of a politician. You go to the Pensacola News Journal, you go to the Milton Press Gazette, you go to places like that. They're going to ask the same old questions that they've asked everybody else, and and then we don't do that. That's all you have to say?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
I'll say something for Donny, though.
Okay, fine. Leave me out. All right. So
Because I
I've
think
said
you
that.
thought that maybe you were kind of leaning that you thought maybe Donny would ask about social programs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there are certain social programs that I definitely believe in, but those are going to be social programs that teach self-sufficiency. So if those social programs are things like, I recently made a post about children with a lemonade stand. So if it's a program that has a class at the community center where it teaches young children the businesses of starting their own business and how to look at a business plan, I support that. That's just a quick example.
It's interesting though, speaking of which, because Milton's in pretty good financial shape.
It is.
So there might be more of a demand for people asking for different programs. So how do you balance that off? I know, like one of my favorites are charities, Man of Food. Apparently there's a hunger problem with certain families, that have real problems and emergencies and things. This city might be able to help them out. But the question is, at what point do you say, okay, we can help out so much, but we don't want to, spend the tax money that could be used for development of businesses also. So in Congress they call it like the guns and butter argument, military versus domestic spending. So for Milton, it could be charity and social spending versus business development. Where do you see the priorities, and how would you balance those two?
Okay, so I'm going to go back to business a little bit, and I'd like to see our businesses step up and help with those type issues.
Okay.
I know we have a large church involvement with those type issues.
Okay.
But I would also like to see our businesses help with those.
Okay.
So again, I'm going to come back to support the business.
Do you have any favorite businesses or things that you're, kind of like a specialty of, or is this going to be an area of like cybersecurity, like Pensacola? Are we going to have waterfront businesses because we have a river sitting right here? Are there more natural things? Are there more recreational things we can do? In fact, this is great. We're going to have a cat join us in the production. This is going to be fabulous. Oh, come on, let the cat in. Put the cat on the table right here. No, seriously, bring the cat in. No, what? No? No, come on.
It's going to be more of a mess.
That could have been a catastrophe. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. So we include, just to let you know, production crew. Do you guys want to be named here or not yet? Be sort of anonymous. Should we go first?
Soon we'll have an actual name, and we'll love everybody.
Because we'll put you on the credits, but things like we incorporate all. This is the first time we've worked together. Okay, this is why we're sort of improvising here. We incorporate everything into the show. So if an animal walks by, like if a bird landed on the table here, we just keep going. We don't cut. We don't care. It just gets brought right into the whole deal. So if animals walk in, or some like hound howls, out the window or something like that, we don't care. It's right. This is how we do things. You having fun yet? Okay. All right. How many interviews have you done for this position?
None.
This is the first one? This is a great place to start with the two of us. You're brave. I'm impressed. Do you have any questions for us?
No.
You can turn it around.
Actually, I have not thought of any questions for you.
Okay. Just as a, now that I think of it, for future interviews, just for the fun of it, have questions for the interviewer. What's their background? What's their level of expertise? What are they interested in? That's the way that you can get more of a conversation going. I think that's one of the problems is we don't talk to each other as people. I ask you some tough questions, but I'm interested in you as a person, as what you know, where you came from, what
okay,
that
let's talk about where I came from.
Go for it.
Okay.
That was easy.
I'm born and raised in North Carolina.
Okay. Where's your accent?
Probably everywhere by this point.
Okay, makes sense, yeah.
So, joined the Air Force at 17.
Wow.
I came
Why?
from, my dad was in Vietnam, and he did show pictures of when he was in Vietnam when I was young. I think that kind of instill that patriotic base.
Okay.
And then I
That's
also
important.
was
That's really good. It's
living
very- yeah.
in a town that I didn't see has had any opportunity.
Okay.
That's important because I think we might be on the verge of that in Milton. I think that our young people don't have anything to do here, and I'd like to turn that around.
Do you
because
think like recreational things or like you're talking about business entrepreneur
It
things?
seems
or
that there's a lot of
combination?
recreational things if people are looking for them.
So that's not the
but
problem.
I think that there's, I'm not seeing or I'm not hearing, and I'm not in that job market, so I haven't been looking, but I'm not hearing that there's a lot of career opportunities here.
So that's
but
a
That is a problem.
maybe there are, and maybe they're not being promoted, and maybe that's something where the city can step in and promote that and make sure that our younger generation knows that it is available, because I know there are jobs at Whiting Fields, and
Do you make
so there are
presentations?
things here.
Does the high school, do you make presentations in the high school, for example, in the city council? Do they go in and talk to folks and say, these are some of the career options, or do you have career days, or?
I don't know that they do, but that is definitely one of those things that I would like to see at our community center.
There you go.
It's okay, because I've already been talking about that as far as our community
Okay, so you know
center.
that.
I
You
want
mentioned
job
that.
fairs, and I want interviewers, and I want people there helping with
Yeah.
resumes and helping with applications and helping with career counseling at our community center.
Yeah, Donny?
Oh, I didn't finish where I.
Oh, I'm sorry, where you came from? Well, and I'm always
So-
5 steps ahead, so.
I'm just trying to
feel free.
bring with why I have these feelings. So I was faced with that in Gastonia, because you worked in textiles, and or I don't know what else there
So
was
like-
to do. That was
So
it.
it's like a one industry kind of town?
That's all I knew of it as a
Okay.
teenager. And
Okay.
then after I left in the Air Force, shortly after that, NAFTA and the textiles left. So
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so where is it? Mexico or
So-
Canada? Where'd they go?
I think that Mexico and China.
Okay.
So then, but I was already in the Air Force and I was pretty busy.
Yeah.
So I look at that, is that it was a city left that, and the city's doing much better now, so I'm not talking about my old city.
That's
But it was a city that didn't stay relevant and couldn't compete. And again, I think that that's something that we might be starting to face here in Milton, that we're not keeping our relevance. Now, the current city council and the current mayor are very much into that, and that is happening, and we're seeing growth because of that.
Okay.
It's important that we keep that going. Okay, so I'm in the Air Force, and I'm doing my thing. I end up getting out of the Air Force. I'm in California at that point.
Well, totally
got
awesome,
into-
dudette. Yeah, that's great out there.
I moved down to Southern California, and I got into property management. What I really liked about property management is that I was able to do good work for the business owner and also help people in the community where I managed.
Okay.
I was
Are
able to
these-
find a balance.
Are these commercial properties, residential, both?
Residential.
Okay.
So I believe I had a positive impact on a lot of people's lives. An apartment manager, I was a resident apartment manager, can really make life better for you or difficult for you, and I strive to make it better, but also remembering that I worked for the owner of the property, and it was important to have that business succeed so that I was able to do more for the tenants. So then, I'm in California.
Pause. We're not done yet. Okay, good.
I
I always have 15 questions, everything you
got
say.
it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so very, very expensive in California. I'm working all the time, and I'm realizing I'm not going to be able to buy a house. And I'm going to be working like this for the rest of my life. So,
Wait, now, the property values, because I'm from the Bay Area, and, as I tell people, add a zero. So your $150,000 house and property here will be $1.5 million in the Bay Area. That's how bad it is. So Southern California, when you were there, is it comparable? What's
I was
like the
living in
ratio?
Santa Barbara, and I had a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And yeah, gorgeous area. A 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Part of a duplex, and rent was $1,800. Rent.
What's the rent now?
Well, rent is more than mortgage here.
What is it in Milton, you're saying?
In Milton, yes. You
Okay.
pay more to rent than you're paying if you have a mortgage. And,
Oh,
and
nice.
that's,
Sounds
it's
like
pretty
great.
common. That's pretty common.
Yeah, but maintenance costs, you don't have, and you don't
That
have
is
property
correct.
tax, you don't have. So the thing about, do you know like the rent to ownership ratio in Milton?
I want to say last I read in my area, it was maybe 35%, somewhere around in there.
35
It's- Yes.
Okay.
So.
That's actually
realizing
better for the
I'm-
economy, isn't it, to have more owners?
It's usually more stable.
Okay, that makes sense.
Stable citizen base. So I'm in California, very expensive, knowing I'm not going to be able to buy, looking to my future because I'm getting older. My husband had retired from Eglin. We were talking about taxes, and we were looking at states that didn't have the income tax. And
Yeah, Florida, Washington, New Hampshire,
so
where else? It's like 3 or 4, Texas, I don't think they have state
we
income
talked
tax.
about, was it Arizona? I don't know. It's been a long time now,
I think Arizona's
but those
in
are things that we were talking about. And he had been in this area. I wanted to be in an area with a large military community because I was in the military, in the Air Force for 10 years, and he retired from the Air Force and just felt comfortable.
Did you guys meet in the Air Force?
Many years ago, yes.
Okay.
So
On an airplane,
We-
30,000 feet, cruising over the Atlantic.
So we.
Hi there.
So we decided to come back to this area. Santa Rosa County looked good because I didn't know which way I was going to be commuting. Ended up getting a job in Milton, working for the county.
That's the cat again. So if you need a break, just say the cat's running around, okay, so fine.
Working for the county. Got introduced to Milton. I was like, I like it here, and this is where we're going to stay.
Okay.
So within a few months, we purchased here in Milton. This is where we're staying. This is where our roots are. We're not going anywhere.